Hey fam. No, I haven't been around in a bit. Just to be honest with you, not feeling the most creative. Kind of been busy with, the real life that most of us creatives will take a break from. Um, However, I thought today would be a great day to do some testing of some new paints that I was gifted. Try out. Actually, I've got a new pouring medium. I'm going to use some old canvases. And answer a couple of about the artist questions. So just so that you guys are up to date, I've got my completely messy, but they were clean, obviously, cups. I've already poured my new Handy Art pouring medium, which I'm going to be honest was a cheap deal from, I believe I got it probably Lobby or Michael's, not sure, probably have Lobby. The paints I'm using, got Essentials acrylic, which I don't think I've ever used. And then I have some Liquid Hex basic acrylic. And those will be with the Handy Art. I guess about 3 ounces, just random amount of color, because I'm not sure how these are gonna mix, but it's always fun. And then the paint was actually gifted to me. I have a awesome artist creative friend who is clearing out and knows that I will use this stuff, whether for me or the kiddo. So I just happen to have 7 containers that I was able to open. I don't know if you can see this lovely box, but those ones have sealed shut, which is why I started switching over to the sweet little containers with the more direct pour lid. And then, even though I have not tested these ones, in order to make my paint last and be a little bit more fluid, because I'm going on to painted canvases, I am going to mix in just about an ounce of water. Yes, this is tap water, nothing fancy here, be serious. Art's about creating with what you have. As you guys can tell, these measurements are far from exact, because why would we be scientific about it? This brings me to my first question on what motivates me to paint. So, like I said, I kind of took a creative break, let myself get too busy. But in my healing journey and learning who I am, I have found that art is really this beautiful thing, and I'm going to be cliche and point out that it did save my life, but just being able to make something beautiful, turn the chaos into something that makes a little bit of sense, has made a big difference in my life, which kind of is the whole way I got started and going. It's why these videos, I try not to be your typical, influencer, boring how to, I don't know, it's kind of like art therapy while I self-express for these videos. Kind of my, yeah, you can do it with whatever you got. Try to show you some cheaper, easier ways. So we're just gonna mix these up. I know a lot of people will stir. I like the shaking, very therapeutic. Kind of, you can definitely tell these are a little bit more liquidy than the Master Touch. But again, I did add the water, so that will help it be a little bit more fluid, and you definitely want to do that when you're using an older canvas, or if you don't have a lot of pour medium to spread around. So I do 3-to-1 on the medium to the water because I don't want it to not be paint. You still want a little bit of that thickness. As you can tell, these lids are not sealing the best, but some more Q&A. Reasons to take break from art. Basically, you just don't feel like it. Reasons to make art. Because you fucking feel like it. Like, we just have, I think most creatives will understand there's days where you're in tune with that part of yourself. You take breaks for your day job. You take a time out because you're just not inspired. I know there were some years where I would be inspired and all I could do was sketch. Sometimes you get bored of the thing that sets your soul on fire, and painting really does set my soul on fire. I was asked why I don't paint darker, more negative emotions, so while I move you guys hopefully over, let's get rid of this, move you guys over to where you can see what we're gonna do with these as we test them out. Let's flip this. Nope, not gonna let me flip. Sorry for the dark screen, guys. There we go. Alright, so you guys can kind of see as I'm adjusting these older canvases of mine. These are artworks that at one point I loved and was going to do something with in theory. But back to the question at hand. Why don't I paint darker emotions? I don't know if you guys have been to my Facebook or my website or read anything that says A Kleber Art, but it literally is about making things beautiful for me. I feel like there is enough anger and darkness and sad things in the world. Ooh, I don't think this one mixed really well. And being able to make something beautiful, ooh, that's much better. Just, it brings me joy. That's the whole point of me coming up here to this studio and spending time. Why make something you're not gonna love? And when we make our lives miserable and then we put it down on paper, and it just adds to the realness and the pain, and instead of transforming it into something beautiful and enjoyable, it's just, and it's not like I don't talk about that stuff. If you know me at all, you know that I will immediately tell you all about the rough stuff, but I will also try to silver lining it. So this smaller canvas, I'm actually going to just try straight, like grenade pours. These are all set for grenade pours. As you guys know, big fan. That's, I guess, my negative, turning it into something beautiful, is taking these random colors and just letting them explode randomly and create their own little design, and then going through and making something out of it, adding a form or a figure. So as you can tell, I'm gonna toss this one in here too, just really go kind of against the color. As you can tell, these are a little bit more liquidy than some of the ones I've made, not really sitting like layered on each other. So this is going to be a dirty pour on top of a grenade pour, not a straight pour at all, but I'm thinking that will make it a little bit more interesting. And I just have my little 4-ounce fun cup. The cup itself is actually quite beautiful. I don't know if you can see how that poured in there. Really interesting. But here we are, we're taking something from the past that we tried to enjoy and we didn't, and we're adding some new fun colors and expression to it. And all right, hopefully you guys can see this really well. This is gonna be number 1. Normally I fill them up, but I'm trying something new. I haven't liked the first couple videos, mainly because they're not 100% true to form. So this is you just hanging out with me in my studio today. So here we go. We're gonna just pull the pin and let it do its thing. Oh my, see, I already love this. And I haven't even lifted the cup yet, but I am gonna lean it a little bit because I want it to spread around. This is a lot more fluid, as you guys can tell. It's definitely going a little bit quicker. I think this is definitely gonna be more, I love these ripples. I think the water definitely helped get some more of those, I don't know what the correct word for it is. I call them like little gems, but we're just gonna go ahead and let that loose. All right, and then like normal, we're gonna tilt a little bit. Oh yeah, way more fluid. I feel like I'm losing a lot more of it. I do like how it stretches a lot better though with that little bit of water in there. So I'm kind of curious to see how this dries. Right off the edge of that one, I know not. So like this is my getting the emotion out, like letting it kind of explode, the color choices, the trying to, even though it's kind of chaotic and fun, just trying to let it get into place. And I'm gonna actually leave that one there. I hope it dries very similarly to that because I think that is spectacular. We'll do a follow-up video in a couple of days once these all like dry really solid. Unfortunately, my floor in the studio is not 100% even, so I'll keep an eye on that one, and I might have to move it here in a little bit. But yeah, so definitely loving these new colors, but I do have some other colors. So I think just because the Liquitex and the Essentials in general are a little bit thinner, and then I think adding in the water actually helped get more of a spread. Be very curious to see how they mix. So I'm gonna grab a couple of tubes. Let's see what these colors that I got. Let's redo the flash with some red. We use some yellow. I really loved that gold color, so we're gonna bring that guy back. And then I'm gonna grab some of my older colors. I do have an orange, and a bronzy, and then we've got these two, like, I don't know, that's similar, maybe a little lighter. We'll leave that one out. All right, but we're just gonna shake up these guys that have been sitting here waiting. And we're gonna do a grenade pour because you know I love those. Again, just letting that expression explode out. I'm gonna try to be a little bit more balanced in how I pour it in. Maybe not going from a high spot and letting it drop on itself. Layer it a little bit better. And for those of you who haven't done pour paint, I can't tell you that there's no right or wrong way to do it. I just know that I've messed around with a bunch of different options, doing uneven levels of color. The grenade pours are by far my favorite because I just love watching it explode and totally create its own kind of magic. All right, so as you can tell, going a little bit closer, kept a little bit more shape, even though these are still the same watery mix. And the cup actually looks more like rings right now, so we're gonna see how that kind of blows up everywhere. So Saved by the Flash, very weird. I don't know, like I want to say like 3 or 4 years ago, rough draft, never got finished. But I do love the flipping. Okay, so I guess it doesn't matter if we do that up or down. All right, and then I do want to make sure these colors are good because I'm going to string them in once the pour is actually, we're going to move you up to this corner. And then as it comes down, we'll add in, and we'll do it random. We'll just kind of squeeze them out together and hopefully they'll actually squeeze. I don't know, these bottles have been sitting up here for a little bit, so not sure if I should be using this or not, but we're gonna test it out, use up some of this old paint so we can create some new ones next time we're in here. It's a good way to inspire yourself to get up in the studio, is just doing color palettes. All right, so 3, 2, 1, pull. Ooh, okay, I was expecting a lot more red, but as that's doing its thing, we're gonna do a double squeeze, add in some lines. So this is definitely more of a brownish red than I was expecting in here, but it is definitely flowing with it. I do like that yellow. I feel like maybe I should add some more yellow in this. We're gonna pull this down just a little bit, let it all pop out. Okay, so there's definitely more red right there. Yeah, I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of yellow before I even let it do its own design. Yeah, so we're definitely getting better cells with this process. I know, just crazy all over the place. Let it do its own thing. This one, of course, doesn't work. I want to see what this color looks like with this. I'm just gonna go right in the middle, just all over. All right, so as you can tell, very mismatched, kind of. Now we're just gonna let it kind of spread. Bring it down a little bit. Get rid of the more gloopy. Definitely like when the colors are a little tighter ribbon wise, but that's just my personal preference. Definitely make sure all your corners get covered. All right, now that that's spread out, oh, I do like that. That is very fiery brimstone. This one's gonna be like a hell piece. Which, again, like I said, I don't like to do darker things. It's always about triumph and victory, but tell me that's not blazing flames. Like, oh my goodness, yes. All right, and I'm gonna, remember, we'll do a reveal so you guys can see how these really turned out. However, I am, let's just set it right here into one little pile. Let it do its thing. Remember, painting is like children. You kind of have an idea, and then you realize it's better to let them be themselves. So, oh, questions? Yes, of course. So I feel, in general, that like, if you want to make art, you make art, and if you don't, you don't. It's not about how to, it's about want to. You can learn anything that you put your time and energy into. Like I said, I haven't really had the time or energy, and the lack of both will really keep you out of your happy creative space. If I knew where my scraper was, I would scrape this random color up. Oh, there it is. I did find it. when you take time away from your hobbies, you tend to forget where you put stuff. This color is actually a very beautiful coral that's kind of mixing from the, obviously the yellow, the gold, the red. In a perfect world, I would put a tarp or something down to make this easier, but I really do love this little coral color though, and it's very liquid. It's not really enough for a whole other painting, but I might toss that on sometimes. So I'm just gonna set that aside just in case. Who knows? The world is full of possibilities, and you gotta go out and chase them. However, like I said, this is not the most even surface. So these canvases that you see at the end, I was asked about that as well. Those are usually just my next work in progress. Like it's one of my pour paints that I saw something in more than just getting it out. So you've got this. Right now, this is just like this beautiful, honestly, explosion of emotion. And if it dries like that, maybe there's a fairy. Maybe this turns into a flower. Who knows? You know, like this, like I said, is definitely going to be more of like a fiery, hellish type scene. My last one like that has a very strong warrior. This one, I don't actually have anything 100% I've seen in it. I kind of want to use it as a let me just get rid of all the gunk, clear out all the paints I'm going to use, every color, and it'll be another video. You guys are going to love it. But just to use the last of these colors that we mixed up today, I did do a white. Just to test out the Liquitex versus the Masters. And I would normally pour that as like my base and then pour the color in. But like I said, I'm really feeling like these grenade pours right now. So I'm going to use that as my most prominent color. So it's going to be like white every other layer. Not feeling really yellow. Let's see. Let's do some blue. I know you guys are like, she always says blue and green, and because those are my two favorite colors. Probably green and purple, honestly, but blue is ocean, it's sky, it's, you know, green is the grass, the trees. It's totally a symbol of growth. So we've got blue, white, just because I can, I'm going to grab this older it's more like a tealish, which you would think would be my favorite, but I am a sage green kind of girl. There's nothing better than that light green. So just doing this teal, which I love these bottles. I'm telling you guys, I'm not trying to sell you stuff, but this was probably like my best Temu buy ever. One thing I did realize during my video break is that I don't like trying to sell you guys stuff. I don't want to be that kind of person, so I'm just going to start putting links in the description. You want to use my link and help me out, cool. You don't, also cool. Like, we're here to learn, love, grow. Just give me a like and we'll call it even. And or comment and tell me how I could be better. I'm probably not going to listen to your suggestions because I'm just stubborn and like to do things the way that I enjoy doing them, and I just want to share them with you. But the hope is that we are all having a little bit of fun. So this was originally a pour paint that this is like one of my very, very first ones, and I've tried, and it melted horribly, like 90-degree summer day, did not dry right. It's not bad. It's just, I've been looking at it for over a year and I can't turn it into anything. And sometimes it's not about turning it into anything. Sometimes it's just okay to use a canvas for a different project. as you can tell, you can't really see my studio. I've got you stuck with this is the next one I want to do something with. Um, but just like your mind, your creative space can get crowded and overrun, and sometimes just looking at something a million times is not going to turn it into what you think it could be. For me, it's not a matter of like, oh, I'm afraid of trying this. It's more of a, like, literally, there was nothing I could do with this after a year that made me love it. And I feel like I should be putting art in the world that I love. So I'm sorry if you love this one and I'm destroying it. And I know this one is a little bit further away from the camera, but I don't want the other ones to destroy it. And I can't quite reach that right now. So we're just going to go ahead. I'm sure you guys are sick of listening to me. We're going to go ahead and pull this, and we're just going to see what happens. Lift it up just a little bit when they stick like that, and then they'll pour themselves out. Oh, I do like this teal. I do. Oh, yes, that teal was definitely what we wanted. All right, so the whites and the blue with the teal is, I'm loving this. I'm loving this already. Like, whenever you find it's getting stuck, you can just lift it up a little bit. You can see all these beautiful cells over here, and I literally, all it is some water. People will argue with me about my little random designs in the middle, but before this even spreads, it reminds me of a crescent moon. So it's probably not going to spread that beautifully and easy. It is fluid art, so they do kind of tilt and do their own thing. But that's the fun about the designs, is just trying to get it out there. And like, this is very calming. It's a time-consuming hobby when you want it to be, but it's also very quick and easy when you want it to be. So I'm obviously not going to be able to keep the shape of this moon as much as I want to. So I think, ooh, I really do like those. Do I want more green or teal? This is the rough part. All right, so since I can't decide, I'm just going to go straight down this way, cut out some of this. All right, so that's over the edges. And then go back. I do want to keep a few of those cells, so we're going to just go back that way. All right, it's still, that might be more of a moony vibe. I don't know, guys. What do you think? All right. Definitely some ocean waves going on here. So you got to be careful, because while you do want to hit your corners, you don't always want to lose some of the design, which you're stretching and you're turning, and ooh, that looks kind of like an alien face for a second. Because what I don't want to do is lose all of the green or the wavy shape. So it's liquid, you kind of gotta let it wiggle and shift. Sometimes you just gotta sacrifice an edge. That's just part of letting it create itself, which is why I have kind of shifted more towards these as my backdrops, because I don't let myself fall in love with it all the way immediately. I do like that. Let's go this way a little bit. But as you can tell, like, I do have some control over what it's doing, and I definitely like the having added the water in, let it be a little bit more, that extra fluid. Fluid's not the right word. If you don't do fluid art, that little bit more of wiggle room is going to be how I describe it. Okay, so I really like this shape right here. We're going to cross our fingers and pray that this turns out exactly like this, because it's absolutely spectacular. Yeah, so guys can tell, like, I really just needed to get some of this out. Obviously, very different train of thought. Things shift and they change. Like this one, I already don't like how it's shifted, so I'm going to try and push it back a little bit more to where I get some of those variations, but still very fiery. I do love this one. All right. Hopefully, this will dry how I'm seeing it. Probably gonna, I do keep little cardboard things like this so I can prop things and shape them. I'll check on it in about 20 minutes and move it again. You, I love you, I love you. And I love you guys because you put up with me, you listen to my weirdness. But yeah, I'm not gonna try and sell you anything. I'm not gonna tell you you have to do it this way. I'm just gonna show you what I'm doing and talk to you about life. You don't have to count it as advice. You don't have to paint the way that I do. I'm sure when you see my finished creations, you see things differently than I do. But I'm gonna go through over the next couple weeks. I'll be getting all the links set up for you guys so that we can just more chit chat. But thank you for the little bit of time that you've given me today. And if you do have any questions you want to add in for the next video, just shoot them my way. You all be blessed.